Hello and welcome to this edition of How We Do It, the topical debate on Europal TV's Your Voice channel. Today we want to talk about the automotive industry. Except for the banks, no other branch of the economy has perhaps been so massively affected by the current crisis and has received as much help from governments in one way or another, because so many jobs are at stake. But is it making any difference? With me to discuss the state of affairs in the European automotive industries are two distinguished members of parliament, Chatzimarkakis, a German liberal and the author of a report on the future of the car industry, written, one should add, when this future wasn't as much in doubt as it now looks. Joining us on the phone from Bratislava, Sergej Kozlik, non-attached to any political group, but a former Deputy Prime Minister of Slovakia. And we also have Peter Scherrer of the European Metalworkers Federation. Before we launch into the debate, let's have a look at this report from Germany.
11 million cars sold, 5.7 million of them assembled in German factories. This represents a turnover of 290 billion euros. 2007 was a record year for the German car industry. But with the global economic crisis, car sales declined dramatically. Up to 25% fewer cars were sold in Germany in 2008. Like at Alfred Fester's, a car dealer from South Germany.
Die Nachfrage im letzten Jahr oder am Anfang von diesem Jahr, wo die Abwrackprämie noch nicht aktuell war natürlich sehr schleppend bis gering. Einmal natürlich aufgrund der Witterung und dann natürlich auch, weil die Lage in Deutschland im Moment sicherlich nicht so ist, dass jeder ein neues Fahrzeug sofort kaufen möchte.
Some automobile manufacturers like Audi, which is seen as a modern brand, gets off easily with only 10% less cars sold. Others suffer to a greater extent, like Opel, a daughter company of the US group General Motors, is close to bankruptcy and wants help from the German state. 4 billion euros would be needed to rescue the automobile manufacturer of Rüsselsheim. Whether the German state should help or not is still unclear and somewhat controversial.
Das große Problem ist, dass es eine Strukturbereinigung im Automobilsektor sowieso geben muss, unabhängig von der Krise, die wir im Moment durchlaufen. Und da darf man nicht öffentliche Mittel, unser Geld dazu aufwenden, einzelne Firmen am Leben zu erhalten, die sich selber in den letzten Jahren ja auch schon sehr schwer getan haben.
Opel's workers, suppliers, traders and garages now all fear for their jobs.
Es ist ja unser aller Arbeitsplatz betroffen. Stellen Sie sich vor, das Werk würde wirklich in Insolvenz oder gar in die Pleite gehen. Ja, dann würden wir auch über kurz oder lang mit da dranhängen.
Insgesamt ist natürlich die Situation, ja, ausgelöst durch die Finanzkrise, schon ein bisschen beängstigend, weil es eben dem Mutterkonzern, letztlich General Motors, ja relativ schlecht geht, wie man weiß.
One kind of state support is the scrapping incentive. Since February 2009, the German state pays anyone who buys a new car 2,500 euros, provided that the customer gives back their old car, which must be older than 9 years, to be scrapped. Since the incentive was introduced, car dealer Alfred Fester has sold 4 times more new cars than before.
Diese ersten 3 Monate waren wirklich konstant sehr hoch, wo wir wirklich Arbeitszeiten von 14-15 Stunden Tag gehabt hatten, eben, wie gesagt, diese Leute dementsprechend auch zu bedienen.
Whether these activities will help the German car industry or not is still unclear, because often clients buy small cars at around 10,000 euros from non-European producers.
Well, according to the latest figures, Germany's scrappage scheme has succeeded to pull Opel back from the brink, at least in terms of sales and at least for the time being. Let me bring in the union representative here straight away. Peter Scherrer, has the German government found the right way to protect the car industry and the jobs related to it from the storm?
I wouldn't say this is the only possible way, but at the moment, obviously, it works, and demand is increasing, and a lot of people now doing even some extra shifts to supply this demand. And the problem is this scrappage premium that will work only until the end of the year. And what happens then? So we need a long-term perspective. At the moment, we welcome that it helps immediately, has an immediate effect. But is that sustainable? I don't think so.
And doesn't it create more problems, or doesn't it just postpone the problems? Because people are buying the cars now, and naturally they would have bought them perhaps in a year or 2 years' time, and now they won't, of course.
I think we did buy time with it. We did buy time we should use now quickly and immediately to have to develop together, trade unions, the management and the politicians. We have to develop now a sustainable concept for this industry.
And in which direction should we go? Would you ask one of the politicians present? Well, we have Jorgo there, of course, and Mr. Kozlik from Bratislava. Mr. Kozlik, how is the situation in Slovakia? We're going to see a little report from Slovakia later as well. You have the same scheme operating in the country. Is it saving your car industry?
Treba povedať, že na Slovensku momentálne sa vyrába najviac osobných aut na svete per capita na jedného občana. Aj na Slovensku je výrazný pokles predaja viac než 25% automobilov. Vláda pristúpila taktiež k riešeniu problému na báze šrotovného, ktoré zvýšilo predaj automobilov, ale toto opatrenie nerieši produkciu automobilov, výrobu automobilov na Slovensku, pretože okolo 80% automobilov...
That's right, but because the cars produced in Slovakia aren't really all used in Slovakia, they're used all over Europe, aren't they?
Treba povedať, že samozrejme, že naprostá väčšina aut sa vyváža mimo Slovenskú republiku, ale na druhej strane šrotovné sa dotýka lacnejších typov automobilov, ktoré na 80% sú automobily z dovozu, predovšetkým automobily typu Škoda. Takže ide len o krátkodobé opatrenie a s tým súhlasím s kolegom Schererom, že ak chceme riešiť dlhodobejšiu krízu krátkodobými opatreniami, to nemôže mať dostatočný účinok.
So what should be the direction for the car industry for the future?
Well, the scrappage scheme has an immediate effect. It brings new cars into the market, and these new cars all are environmentally better, more friendly than the old cars. So there's also this effect that we have to see, and that we as politicians are also very much in favor. In general, many people say that the car industry did not adapt to the paradigm shift, moving away from combustion cars and going to electrified cars, which is not true. I remember very well when in Germany, for instance, we had the Volkswagen Lupo, Audi A2, we had the Smart 10 years ago, and nobody bought these cars. They were on the market. So it's not true that the car industry did not supply. There was no demand for that. Nowadays, the paradigm shift has also reached the market, the consumers. And that is why now any state money, any money coming from the European Union or from the member states, should really be linked to the paradigm shift, to new engines, to a new paradigm, turning green. Let's cut it short.
So, and how quickly can that be done? And is the workforce up to following that, or are there going to be perhaps some training schemes needed?
Well, we all know that takes time, that in the automobile industry you can't switch it from one day to another. It takes, and for example, famous is now the example General Motors, the car Volt. It will take another 2 years' time before it is on the market. You cannot do that like that. But I would like to slightly... I disagree a bit when you said we had cars like Lupo, Volkswagen Lupo, but what did the automobile industry do with it? I would call it, that was a best kept secret, because they were not really pushing these cars on the market. Because for one simple reason, when you sell a Lupo, the profit is comparatively little. But when you sell a proper Daimler-Benz, 70,000, 80,000 euros. So
Touareg or whatever.
But there's much more money to make with. So that was the point. I think that many of the automobile producers did not really push that forward because the margin was too small.